the stock market morning prep video for Friday, August 22nd. Market's green again, actually green all this week, and I think we were up 8 out of 10 trading days from the low. Pretty amazing stuff. We talked about this pretty much most of the morning videos. You know, when you're looking for a short area to short, because we have lower lows and lower highs, because price gets to that area, that doesn't mean that we start legging into a short position. We would need a trigger. And that was one of the reasons why we had our target areas where we looked to short, and we never got a trigger because the markets continue to grind higher. So what do? You look for quality stocks or stocks that have gotten hit already and based and coming out of basis. Yes, that leaves us very few choices, but that's what you're dealt with right now, especially coming into August, the last couple of weeks of trading. And markets tend to over-exaggerate its move like it's been doing pretty much most of the year. And sure enough, we're vertical straight up 8 out of 10 trading days. And it has not been an easy 8 or 10 trading days. The markets have gone up, but prior to them finishing the day higher, we started out weaker. We chop around pretty much for a portion of the day and then push into the close for a short covering rally. So that's why stocks really, a lot of the stocks really haven't done too much. But there are a selective few that do make moves. Bank of America on news, so anything that's news driven, if you can catch prior to that move, or at least get in the move while it's starting to happen, that's a good bet. So real quick, Dow Jones up 60, Nasdaq up 5.5, S&P up 5.5, Russell up 2.5. So less than 0.2%. But the markets are making new highs, and the CNBC pundits are getting their hats on and saying, hey, look at this, new highs again. They have no clue of what's going on. But nonetheless, we are moving higher on very, very slow and anemic trading, as well as volume has been really not there. But that's to be expected because we are at the end of August. So, how do we trade it? What do we do? And I've gotten a few emails I like to always share about we had called our ES target 2000 early last week when we identified an inverted head and shoulders pattern. So real briefly, I'd just like to talk about that, and we're going to get into that in the chart. But when you are doing your analysis, it's very important to start from a higher time frame lower, so you can see what is actually happening as you're getting closer to that time frame. Now, just because we are now just really strictly day trading for now until we can literally get a decent correction, because to me, I'm not looking to hold swing trades in this type of environment where markets look great, they look healthy, and all of a sudden they open lower like they did yesterday. We gapped down and then we recovered, but your swing trade would have, most stocks really don't recover as the markets, the indexes start to recover. They just kind of stay stagnant here, and this has been happening the last several months. So I'm not looking for that type of movement until the markets could get a good correction, 8 or 10%. Then I'd be looking to buy good quality stocks and start to build positions. So until then, I'm just strictly day trading. But you still want to look at the higher time frames to get an idea of what the bias is, and of course it's to the upside. But before we identified the trend, it was not. Markets were really chopping around trying to base from the sell-off we had 3 weeks ago. So, I like the fact that we identified that bullish inverted head and shoulders in ES, and the target is 2000, and we have that 1272 extension from that high to low, that sell-off, which comes in at 2006. So that's also, that'll probably be met, because once you hit 2000, stops get elected and they kind of overshoot. But that's a great spot for a short. If you're looking to fade that move, I would, especially if something like a move we just had, 8 or 10 trading days straight up. Now remember, one thing I do want to tell you guys about caution here is Janet Yellen is speaking, Fed chair speaking this morning. That can throw cold water into anything. So, but she's basically speaking, and she's an ultra dove. So if anything, I'm sure that would probably help stocks. I don't think that we would look for a sell-off unless it's built in already. So that's something we need to deal with this morning. All right, so real quick, McClellan Oscillator, we said when we get down below these areas, look for a bounce. And sure enough, boy, we got it. 8 out of 10 trading days up in the indexes. And now we're at these areas where we're looking for a sell-off. I'd like to see that 2000 met right around here. Actually today, because we're only about 8 points away. and then start to roll over again and let the price action close inside the band, that would be a big sell signal for the markets. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this at the close today when you do your analysis over the weekend. So here's the ES again, 10 straight up days up, 8 out of 10 actually, and now we're at that 2,000 mark right here in the ES, and we of course we're oversold, but we can be oversold for quite some time before the market sell. But it's just a guide here. And as you can see, we had very, very poor volume, but again, to be expected. All right, let's take a look at the ES, the hourly chart. I identified this early last week, probably almost 2 weeks ago. And sure enough, I said, here's the neckline. We broke that neckline, and now we're on our way for a 2,000, a good area for 2,000 to be marked here. So take a look at it. I think it's a great. Great little area. You can see here as we start, I move the chart up. We're at 1992 already. And again, I mean, who would have thought straight up? I mean, I guess I had an idea that, usually once I see that buyers or dips continue to come in, then all bets are off to the downside. You have nobody here. And again, if this move was to the downside, then the move would be exaggerated to the downside, okay, which wouldn't be a bad thing because you cannot go continuously without markets at least digesting a move and pausing for a week or two and not just going straight up. But nonetheless, we are here. I do think we close higher year end, but I would love to get a sell-off. Anyway, excuse me, 2006 looks like the 1272 extension. I think it's going to be met because once we get here, it is a target from the inverted head and shoulders. Usually, again, stops get elected at that round lot 2000, and then we hit that number. So we could get there today. If we get some positive comments from Fed Chair Janet Yellen, we will probably get there today. Diamonds, again, you'll see the same thing. Back up to these areas here. And it's doing well. It's just following the other index. It is a follower. S&P is a follower as well, but looked like it was leading. Here's the transports. Our leader doing quite well. Again, off the lows. Here's the 1272 extension. So I'm putting targets to the upside, and let's see if we get there today. IWM, the laggard, still the laggard all year actually. Now looking to play catch up. We have a nice bull flag into moving average support. Okay. Now we just actually retraced from high to low 50% here. If we take that area out, then it looks like that's 61.8%, which would be that area that we would want to hold in IWMs and start to roll over again. If not, tag the 1272 and then roll back down again. So that's the area I'm going to be watching to see if sellers come into IWM. Okay, and then lastly is the Qs. As you can see, Apple did very well, heavily weighted in the Qs. So it's kind of manipulated with Apple in itself, pushing the Qs higher. Also, technology actually has been doing really well too. So that's pretty decent. This is the strongest index right now out of the 5 that we follow, by far the strongest. But look at the volume here, very, very light, well below the average, the 50. So you can see it's well below, other than a couple of spikes. But this is what we're dealt with. So price is what pays us. Yes, volume confirms price. I'd love to see volume always confirm price, but sometimes you don't get that. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy, and watch out for Janet Yellen speaking today. Okay, if you are, long again is another opportunity to maybe buy some insurance here. I'm a big fan of that, and volatility is quite low again. So if you didn't like the way the portfolio spiked lower on this move lower, maybe buy some protection. It's insurance, so it's like when you don't use it, you're wasting it. But why not? It's always good to have, especially when you're at making new all-time highs again. And 2,000, that round lot number, I would suspect I would see some big sellers come in at that area, or right around that area. All right, have a great weekend. We'll speak to you on Monday. Take care.